Shalom, my people. Shalom, Shabbatah. All praise to Hawa, Allah, our King. And our faith goes to His Hamashiach, our Judge. And it's real, and I couldn't have said it no better way than that. How y'all feeling? Hope y'all feeling good. This is the Guardian, man, just here and just checking back up on y'all, just seeing what's going on, what's going zone. Are you in your zone? Are you way up? Talking to my Shabbatah, are you way up? Are you vibrating, trying to hearse it out? Yeah, you know, I'm always give you something to vibrate to, man. We got the water flow. We got the Ahchwa, the Wata. That's Hawa. That's that Mem. That's the blood. That's the Wata. It's looking real beautiful, isn't it? It's looking real beautiful. It's looking real beautiful. Yeah, it's looking real autumn right about now. It's looking real autumn. We got a beautiful scenery though. We way up in the forest, vibrating, getting our Levitical flow on. There's a dot, we in the building, we in the forest. Forget the building, we in the forest, man. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, man, I feel like hitting y'all over the head with some prayer, man. With some prayer. It's no better way to start your day off, man. Start this off with a little prayer. But more so, I want to talk about, you know, the most valuable player when it comes to prayer, man. No man do it better other than Elijah. Man, the Eleazar. So I wanna get into that. For those of you who know who Elijah is, where they talk about in Malachi, the last chapter of the Old Testament, we're talking about Elijah. Okay, the Greeks call him Eleazar. Okay. This is the seed of Moshe and Aaron. This is the son of Moses and Aaron. One of our high priests, Elijah. They said Elijah was hands down the best man for praying to the Most High that there ever was. Like Solomon was to wisdom, Elijah was to Eli was to prayer. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, man. I don't know, I hope everybody been working on something. I've been working on peace myself. Been working on peace. First shot, man. I just want to, all strength, peace, and power goes to King Drop El Hawakwan and his family, and the trials that they're going through at this time. It's a beautiful thing. Meta Shabbatah twist up a lot for my brother El Hawakwan, man, and send vibrations to his family. It's still a beautiful thing. Yapa, man, to El and his family, man. We standing strong in the mist. It's a beautiful thing. On that note, I want to get back into that book real quick that I hit y'all over the head with, man. We talking about ancient Israel. We're talking about ancient Israel, the life and its institutions. I want to finish where I left off, man. I feel something's keen and important, man. We want to get into like tribal organizations. We talk about this mem. I want to get into some tribal organization. Give y'all a little input on that. And y'all chill out, man. Y'all relax, man. We're gonna break some stuff up, man. Y'all just relax, man. Stop being so uptight. Just chill out, man. Get wavy. This that time. You can get wavy, baby. We zanny up way up in the forest. On El Computos. What they call it? We call them Enochs. Yeah, we call laptops Enochs up here, man. Be like, instead of pass me the laptop, we be like, pass me that Enoch, man. Because, Enoch stands for symbolic for technology. Enoch. Technology. Get it? Yeah, we way up with it, man. So yeah, man, we, like I said, way up on the Enoch, vibrating the 432 hertz. We 9 above. I mean, every time, man, there's so much that I could talk about. So much that we could discuss, A lot of times we just freestyle, but so many things going through my head right now that I can explain to y'all. Like, I want to go over to just the Hebrew language, but I'm going to do that later. Shalom, shalom, shalom. So yeah, I want to get into this, the constitution of a tribe. It's the tribal organization out of the Israel institutions. A constitution of a tribe. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all get that book too, man. We see if we can PDF it. And we make sure after. We want to make sure it goes up in the library, also in the ether. It says a tribe is an autonomous group of families who believe they are descended from a common ancestor. A tribe is an autonomous group of families who believe they are descended from a common ancestor. They say that's what a tribe is, a clan. Each tribe is called by the name or surname of their ancestor. Okay? Each tribe is called by the name or surname of that ancestor. Sometimes, but not always, preceded by sons of Arab, or preceded by sons of. Okay, Arab examples are innumerable. In the Bible, the descendants of Amalek, Edom, and Moab are called Amalek, Edom, and Moab, without the addition of sons of. On the other hand, we find both Israel and the sons of Israel, both Judah and the sons of Judah, and so on, but always sons of Ammon, except in two instances, one of which is textually uncertain. Instead of sons, we may found house in the sense of family or descendants, the house of Israel. Family and descendants, the house of Israel, for example, and especially the house of Joseph. Assyrian text follows the same usage in references to Aramean groups who live in conditions similar to those of the first Israelites. Bit, house of Yakin, and Ma, sons of Yakin. Bit, house of Yakin, and Ma, sons of Yakin, or Bit Adini, or Ma Adini. The terms are even used long after the settlement for Israelites in the northern kingdom after Omri, Bit Umri, and Ma Umri. What unites all the tribesmen then is this blood relationship, this mem, real or supposed. They all consider themselves brothers, brethren, in a wide sense. Amalek says to the entire clan or his mother, "Remember that I am your bones and of your flesh." All the members of David's clan are, in his eyes, his brothers. And he goes so far as to tell all the elders of Judah, "You are my brothers. You are of my flesh and of my bones." Every tribe has its traditions, too, about the ancestor from whom it claims descent. These traditions are not always historically true, but whatever they value, the important fact is that the nomad believes he is of the same blood as the rest of his tribe, and that the relationship between different tribes is also explained in terms of kinship. In his eyes, the whole social organization of the desert or wilderness or land period is summed up in a genealogy. It was this idea which in the early days of Islam led to the composition of those great genealogies, cataloged by Winston Field. Each tribe descends from a single ancestor, and two allied tribes descended from two ancestors who were brothers in the strict sense. These genealogies, however, though they may be accurate for a small group, inevitably become arbitrary and artificial once once an attempt is made to extend them in space and time. In the mid-Euphrates region, there is a group of small sheep-breeding tribes called the Agadet, Confederates, whose name signifies clearly enough just how the group was formed. But this political and economic union has since been expressed in a genealogical table. This procedure leads to the invention of eponymous ancestors. We know of a tribe called Cuzco, right? Separated, because it's separated from Ads at the time of the great Yemenite dispersion. But the genealogies have assigned it in a personal ancestor, whom they call Cuzco, similarly to the Kojo or the Kolo, transported, are so called because Omar the first transferred them from Adwan to Al-Harith, whereas according to the genealogies, Kolo is a surname of Ke or Kes, the son of Al-Harith. In practice, other factors besides common descent may help to constitute a tribe. The mere fact of living in the same region leads groups of families to join together. Weak elements are absorbed by stronger neighbors. Alternatively, several groups combine to form a body capable of remaining autonomous, that is, of standing up to attack. So tribes form together to make themselves stronger. Individuals too can be incorporated into a tribe either by adoption into a family, as often happens with freed slaves, or through acceptance by the sheik or the elders. But even here the principle is safeguarded, for the newcomer is attached in name and in blood to the tribe. This means that he acknowledges the tribe's ancestor as his own, that he will marry within the tribe and raise up his family inside it. The Arabs say that he is genealogized, rooted, nasaba, root. With the whole clan, the fusion takes longer, but the result is the same, and the newcomers are finally considered as being of the same blood. A text of Al-Bagrit puts it neatly, and the Nad bin Zaid joined the Bina al-Harith, became confederate with them and completely united with them, and the Germ bin Rabban joined the Bini Zaid, attached themselves to them and lived together, and the whole tribe with its confederates was attached to the same ancestor, the Subat. The tribes of Israel were not exempt from such changes, and they absorbed groups of different origins. Thus the tribe of Judah eventually welcomed its own ranks, the remnants of the tribe of Shimon, and incorporated foreign groups like the Calebites, and the Yerahmeelites. All right. And the Calebites, remember Caleb was a judge over Israel after Hawashua. The Bible gives a clear picture of the process in its references to the Calebites. They were originally outside the Israelite Confederation. For Caleb, was the son of Yephaniah and Quenezite. Alright, that's in Numbers 32 and 12, and Josiah 14 and 6. But anyway, Genesis 15 and 19, 36 and 11. But they had contact with Israel from the time of the sojourn of Kadesh, where Caleb was named as Judah's representative for the exploration of Canaan. This is after Hawashua. Their integration into the tribe is recorded in Joseph 15:30. And in the end, Caleb is genealogically attached to Judah. The son of Yephaniah becomes the son of Hezron, son of Perez, the son of Judah. That's in 1 Corinthians 2 and 9. And brother of Jeremiah, 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and 42. Another foreign group also attached to the line of Judah, 1 Corinthians 2 and 9. There can be no doubt that similar fusions took place frequently, especially in the early days, in that the very concept of the 12 tribes contains some elements of systematic arrangements, though one cannot say precisely how far this system is artificial. In any case, the number and order of the tribes, sometimes even their names, vary from text to text, and these variations prove that the system which finally prevailed was not reached straight away. Well, I can't say all that. All I can say is no one knows what the Creator knows. But I think it's very important that it's showing us that who you decide to become family with, is of your intuition, is of your responsibility. Because I think what it's saying is that your initial blood doesn't make you family. Well, I think we say that wrong. Blood makes you family, but new family can be so joined into your family by developing relationships with people. So therefore, like you said, you have one autonomy. You feel that, or that through research that you have the same ancestors. So, and at the end of the day, we all have the same ancestors, man. So I mean, it's deep. We caretakers of the world. So it's a beautiful thing how by something common that you could form, a tribe or a family, that you could be family, you could be brothers, and it could signify and hold weight. You got legs to stand on because of just how you feel. So it's a beautiful thing. So like I said, and like I've always said, y'all tribe up. Find brothers and sisters with that common interest so you can tribe up. Join unions. Join unions with your brothers and sisters, man, to co-inhabitate, and to live amongst each other, man, and learn how to be a tribe, and to rethink, to relive, because what it's about is, people run around talk about I'm saved, or are you saved? Oh, I met a man and he was saved, or I met a woman. What is saved? What is when you talk about killing the old self. When you talk about killing the old self, who is the new self? Is the new self the old self? Because if the new self is just like the old self, then you ain't saved anyway. You're not saved if the new self is just like the old self. Because the old self was dead. So the new self can't be, the new self has to be awoke. Okay? Has to be awoke. The new self can no longer be a slave to anything but Ahchwa. Okay? A slave to Ahchwa. So, yeah, I don't know, man. So, I guess let's just read a little bit of, I guess that's 17 minutes. So we can come up out of there. Yeah, I want to talk about this Decapolis. Any of y'all familiar with Decapolis? I know I hit y'all over the head with it, you know, just a visual of it. But I never really explained it. You know, I don't know if any of y'all like went into, got the hint to go into, you know, some doing research about it. Give me a second, man. To do research, any research about it. Hold up, she acting up. We're gonna get it together though. Give it a second, man. So in the meantime, between time, check out the water, man. Listen to the water while we waiting on the images to change. It's acting a little funny. You see our water done froze up for a minute. Give it a second. Give it a second. You know how these computers, man, how these Enochs go. Sometimes they work good, sometimes they don't. So just give it time to flow up, catch up with our flow. Would be all right. Give it time to catch up with our flow. Let's get that water back, though. Let's get the water back, ladies and gentlemen. Try this one more time. Y'all give it a minute. Just ease up. But where we going next? Where y'all want to go next, man? Give it a second. Give me a second. She acting real funky. Give me a second, man. As a matter of fact, to chill. While we taking a chill pill, man, let's just go over to the drop real quick, man. Let's see what's going on over in the drop just on a regular day, man. This is what day are we in? I think it's Wednesday, Thursday. It's Thursday night, man. It's ladies' nights all over the United States, man. All over America. It's lady nights in the club. Let's see what's going on in the ether, man. Alright. I think we should be in about the Prester John hour. Let's check it out. Let's check it out, man. If y'all ain't getting over there, get over there. Hire martyrs in there. I guess we got earlier, man. Daryl was in there. Daryl was in there hitting him over the head. He said, when I say Shekinah, he's not talking about a girl. He's talking, or a woman. He's talking about, well, in a sense. But what he's talking about is the heart, man. Shekinah is the heart of the world. Ah, man, this is beautiful. Shekinah is the heart. Alright. A time has come where you must think, feel, see, smell. All your senses are motivated through the heart, man. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. That is the mark, man. So big ups to Daryl, man, for hitting him over the head with that Shekinah, the heart. Alright, it is the right hemisphere of the brain. If you still or quiet in your mind, the vibration of Shekinah pulls and kind of pushes your head in a different direction. And if you focus on the light, you can kind of see something wanting to come into view. Like 2 days ago, it pointed in my head like 3 different stars, satellites. I don't know, I get scared just knowing that this whole time we are protected. Beautiful. Hawa, all praise, Hawa. They will take up serpents, dracons. Man, I gotta clean my body out and become one with nature. Daryl says he smokes squares, green, and be sipping a little bit, alright, on that lean. I gotta get my mind right, but I'm grounded, and I ain't left yet. That's beautiful, that's beautiful. All I do is say Shekinah, Shekinah, and I start feeling movement. Amari, Amadre, Amadre. When you roll, the R means love is true. Amadre, the love is true. Somebody speak to me. I know some food. I know some food for my soul. Let me speak to that bread. Alright, let me speak to that bread. Real quick, Daryl. Okay. Shalom, Joe Khaleesi. Joe Khaleesi says, Shalom, man. Peace and power, man. And Shalom is a beautiful thing. Shalom gives you a foundation, a house, not just saying, peace and power. It's a foundation of peace. So it's a beautiful thing. Z-Line, hope all is well. Palab Tawab. Man, we in the forest. Alright. YDR, what it do, X? Much Ahab Aki, talking to X silence. X silence, Tawadai, much Ahab. Alright, so we up in here, man. We up in here. Alright. Let me just send a shout out. X. Silence. Silence and that brethren and Joe. Y'all gotta forgive me, I'm a slow typer. Alright, real quick. Y'all forgive me taking a little time. So yeah, man, let's go down. We just checking out the drop. We in the ether for you, man. I'm just showing you how easy it is. And I got in with my password. Y'all know the password is 1234 at the door. I mean, it's 1234. The password is when you at the door, okay? But it's 1234. Just four numbers, just four characters, which are numbers 1234. Alright, so and we in the forest, man. We way up with it. You can see. We're communicating with people that'll get the message, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a network communication. It's our own thing, okay? Our own thing, man. So it's a beautiful Copper Dragons of the month. You can be a Copper Dragon. All you got to do is sponsor, subscribe. It's a beautiful thing, and it's that easy. Alright, join Job Nation, man. Let us get your email. Alright, come on and register, log in. You know what I'm saying? Leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Check out the library. Man, it's a beautiful thing. I bet you big library take little library, and we got you over that. Alright, so come check out our incubella of books, man. It's a beautiful thing. Our biblioteca of books. Man, with no further, man, let's check out Khan Drop. This is El Hawakwam, man. He live in the ether, man. Prester John, this is EP 49. He hitting you over the head.
Saddle on him, and they ride their dragons whenever and wherever they wish, my Naga.
Dragon style. What it do, my Naga? Hit him over the head, bread.
Which are like cows amongst these men. And when the men play with them, when the Naga plays with their dragon admirably, by leading them here and there by the head and tail, the dragons are like dogs. The dragons are like dogs. The dragons are the Naga dogs. Are the Nagas, you know, man's best friend. Those are your best homies.
That's my dog.
BFFs, man. Best friends for, what is it? Best friends forever, you know what I'm saying? The dragons are like dogs. Truly, these men with their dragons are our couriers. When it pleases our clemency, desiring to know all the news from every part. Who's the clemency? Who's the majesty? Priest King Prester John, King David, Khan. So when it pleases the Khan, the priest Khan, the Khan Wan, desiring to know all the news from every part, we send them with those dragons flying through the air, through every climate of the world. Yeah, man, this is Prester John, Legend and Sources. You got the link. You got the link. It's time for us to go ahead and walk through the dojo, because, you know, we still haven't did our Rego Negro March. And then we're going to get a chapter of Jeremiah. Keep that going, man. And we'll bring it in like that, man. I mean, much of I've tried, we here, man. We did it again.
Much of
It's another checkpoint. It's another beginning. And this is how we start our flow, man. And, you know, again, You don't need to be validated by ignorance. You know what I'm saying? You know, and just pick your battles. You know what I'm saying? Don't be out there trying to argue with everybody. You know, and ignorant is not an insult. It just means that you lack the understanding of the journey. If you ain't been on the journey, if you ain't been on the investigation, it's hard to just get it in one conversation. And you know what I'm saying? Likewise, you know what I'm saying? We're learning from you. We're learning from, you know what I'm saying, all the teachers around us. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, we have perspective. It's a perspective. It's a flow. It's the water. It's the memory. It's the memory, man. So, aha for surfing the wave and press the hour.
Give you a true knowledge of yourself and life. Man in the full knowledge of himself is a poor and complete creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment.
I don't feel pain anymore. Guess what, baby? I feel free.
Yeah, man, that's that con drop hitting you over the head. Hitting you over the head, man. Hitting you over the head with that con, with the Prester John hour. That just means priest king, man. Remember, man, this is the seat of David. The seat of David, the Dravidian priests, man. We hitting you over here with the Levitical priesthood. That's what it's all about, right? We combine these Levitical priesthood, combining them with these commandments, right? Combining them with the promise, right? The promise was that oral flow from the Most High, the Hawa, the El, the Most High, from the numero uno, straight from the mouth. You understand? Yeah, I hope you do. I hope you do. But yeah, y'all get over to that drop anytime, every time, and all the time. This is in real time, man. And there's something going on. There's something in the water. And I hope you getting your spiritual uplifting, enlightenment, your electricity flow, huh? Your inner chi. Vibrate up, man. We way up in the forest, man. We don't feel pain no more. We feel free. I gotta let this roll. L, you slapped him with this one.
Nothing hurts me anymore. Guess what, babe? I feel I'm out of my past life. Daddy came back twice. Now I don't feel pain anymore. Guess what, babe? I am.
Vibrate up, man. Y'all feel free, man. Feel free to feel free, man. Feel free to feel free. Alright? And freedom sounds good when you talk about salvation, man. It really do. When you talk about salvation, freedom sounds good. Alright? Before we start, let's go over to that alpha, that aleph. Let's check out the alphabet, man, because I just want to light something. I want to light up a sephira for you real quick. Or light up a sephira in you. Alright? We want to go check out that alphabet. Remember, we always remember that first five. That first five. We call that them 5 P's, man. The first 5. That's for proper preparation. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Alright, when you weigh up, when you vibrate up on your paleo, your picto, alright, and even your modern. Alright, get with your Hebrew, because that unlocks a lot of codes for us. Alright, always remember the first 5: El, Bet, Gam, Dal, Ahchwa. Alright, that secure breath. Alright, that secure breath. Always remember that. Your first 5. Alright, your first 5. Alright, we get down to the 7. Right? The 7, when we hit them over the head with the Aleph. The Aleph with the Zan. Alright? We know a lot of things took place. Zan is a representation of Zion. Alright? Or Zan, or however you want to say it. But we know that Zan is a representation of Zion. And a lot of things took place at Mount Zion. Okay? So understand or overstand the things that are incorporated within in your Ruach. Okay, so therefore you can fill up with the essence instead of running away or fighting, fighting the essence, because you'll be just fighting your creator. Okay, so a lot of things took place at Mount Zion. Okay, Zion, that is the food, the nourishment. Alright, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, we get down to the mem, the water, the blood. Alright, the mighty blood. Right? But not only that, we talk about 14, the 14th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Alright, we're talking about a higher, a continuation, a son. Alright, this is none. This is that seed. That seed, none, is very important in your Ruach. Okay? That seed, none. Okay, you can stop, you can fight it all you want to, but that seed, none. That none seed is very important, man. We talking about Hashua. We're talking about Joshua. We're talking about Joshua. That seed is very important. To continue, the hair, the sun. The sun, man. The seed. Huh? You see the picture? We're talking about the seed. With that, man, let's go somewhere real quick. Let's go somewhere I don't usually go, but you can get used to it. I'm about to start going into you. I'm trying to spark something within you. Let's go over to Matthew. Yeah, we're looking for food. Remember, man, y'all, put your guards down, man. You rocking with the Hiram, man. You rocking with the Guardian, man. Put your guards down. We in this together, man. I'm fighting for you, so don't be stubborn. Go over to Matthew. Y'all check something out for me real quick. Check out Matthew 22. Go over to Matthew 22, verse 33. 22 and 33 in Matthew. Alright, I'm going to open up this sword. I'm going to give y'all a second, man. We're going to open up this sword and get right into it. Alright. Hit him over the head with the sword. I ain't gonna cut him. I'm gonna just hit him over the head with it. This ain't no hijack. I'm just taking my shit back. That's all it is, man. This ain't no hijack. I'm just taking my shit back. Hit him over the head with the sword. Let's bring the sword out. Hiya. Alright, we in Matthew. Let's go to 22, 33. I just want to hit you over the head with something real quick. Just try to spark a light. Y'all remember what Josephus said, right? Matthias. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 22 and 33 we said. This is the parable of the wedding feast, but we want to get down to Oh, this thing acting crazy too. We want to get down to, well, actually not 22. We want to go to 21. 21 and 33, actually. 21 and 33. Okay. 21 and 33 is the parable of the tenants. Okay, it's the same thing as the parable of the farmers. Okay, so what it is a story about these parables. I mean, it's a story about farmers, someone who's willing to accept some things. But let's check it out. Let's see what food we can get from this. So this is the parable of the farmers. So listen to another. I'm going to get that drop from my book. Y'all can check out the sword. But what it says is, it says, now listen to another story. Hold on, let me get this right. It says, now listen to another story. A certain landowner planted a vineyard, built a wall around it, dug a pit for pressing out the grape juice, and built a lookout tower. Alright, so what he's saying is he set it all up, right, to produce grapes, right, to produce wine. Okay, so then he leased the vineyard to a tenant farmer and moved to another country. Okay, at the time of the grape harvest, he sent his servants to collect his share of the crop. But the farmers grabbed his servants, beat one, killed one, and stoned another. Okay, so the landowner sent a larger group of his servants to collect for him, but the results were the same. The results were the same. 37. But the results were the same. Finally, the owner sent his son, thinking surely they will respect my son, right? But when the tenant farmers saw his son coming, they said to one another, here comes the heir to this estate. Come on, let's kill him. Let's get the estate for ourselves. So they grabbed him, dragged him out the vineyard, and murdered him. When the owner of the vineyard returns, Jesus asks, what do you think he will do to those farmers? The religious leaders replied, he will put the wicked men to a horrible death and lease the vineyard to others who will give him his share of the crop after each harvest. Jesus asked them, didn't you ever read this in the scriptures? The stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. This is Ahchwa's doing, and it is wonderful to see. I tell you, we're in 43. I tell you, the kingdom of Ahchwa will be taken away from you and given to a nation that will produce the proper fruit. Anyone who stumbles over that stone will be broken to pieces, and it will crush anyone it falls on. When the leading priests and the Pharisees heard this parable, they realized that Jesus was telling the story against them. They were the wicked farmers. They wanted to arrest him, but they were afraid of the crowds who considered Yeshua to be a prophet. So what y'all get from that? What y'all get from that? I've been doing a lot of reading in these scriptures, man, especially like Levite, Judges. A lot of in the New Testament. Some of in the Old Testament too, like some of Paul's letters, who he wrote to Timothy, and he wrote to Titus. Paul wrote a letter to Titus, man. And I think we talking about the same Titus when we talk about the Vespasian, right? Man, it's deep. It's very deep. It's very touched. You know, he was in prison. He was in prison when he wrote that letter. He was in prison when he wrote. Paul was in prison, locked up, for teaching what they call the truth. Teaching about the Hamashiach. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Now we talking about Joshua, the son of Nun. What's crazy is that, like what it says, right? It says, like what I said, right? That kingdom will be taken away from you because you reject that stone. Right? Because we reject a stone. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone. This is the Lord's doing, and it's wonderful. So, when we talk about Judas being a Sakari, seed of the MaccaBean, when we talk about the Sakari and how we rejected the seed of David, we rejected the priesthood, we rejected David. Man, we even blasphemed the priesthood. This is after making it to the promised land. So, man, we don't know what the Most High knows. All I know is the Most High asked us to listen to everything and to follow everything that he says. And we said that we would, right? Remember what we said to Moses? We told him that we would follow everything that the Most High said, but then we didn't. See, we have to understand what the Most High gives us. What he put together through numbers to bring to existence this perfection. This perfection. And we reject it every time, even though we turn around and say. So he put us through levels, man, and we rejected every level he gave to us. And he still loved us, man. It's a beautiful thing. But I don't know what y'all think, man. I want to know what y'all think. I want to know what y'all think. Y'all remember I hit y'all over the head with that rare hidden 1997 documentary on BET on the Israelites in the Holy Land? And remember in the 70s they went to the Holy Land? There was this one rabbi, you saw it. Ethiopian rabbi, you saw it. I want to go back to something he said and check him out real quick. Man, we just vibing out. But it's funny though, because it's funny how The Jews even, right, so-called Jews, they reject the Hamashiach. But the crazy part is, Moses brought tablets. The Most High always used a Hamashiach. Always. Ha is the breath. Mashiach is a Messiah, a messenger. He always put his breath, his ruach, into someone and to speak to us. Always. So I don't understand what's the problem. You understand? Like, we gotta. The thing is, you just can't. You can't have faith in the wrong Hamashiach. So, this faith in Christ, right? Because y'all need to read Judges. You had many judges over Israel. Many judges. Many judges. When God left you, when the Most High left us, when Hawa left us, we had no king. But he granted the line of David, the genealogy of what do you call it? Genealogy, the priesthood of David. And everybody would only come through that priesthood of David. The Levitical priesthood. So we understand that Ruach. Once you understand that Ruach, you gotta understand your Creator. But let's check out this I don't know why it's working a little slow today. But it's gonna have to catch up to us. We ain't worried about it. Let's see what they're doing. Here we go. Yeah, you're gonna have to speed up. Give it time, man. We just trying to reload it real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's check that out now.
Politics is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is the site where Christians believe Jesus was crucified, buried, and rose from the dead. On the church's rooftop lies an Ethiopian monastery. A group of gentle Ethiopian monks live in tiny cells.
I just wanted to catch that from the beginning, alright?
But amidst all the politics is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is the site where Christians believe Jesus was crucified, buried, and rose from the dead. On the church's rooftop lies an Ethiopian monastery. A group of gentle Ethiopian monks live in tiny cells on the rooftop monastery. Their sole mission is to protect and guard the site they believe is where Jesus was crucified and buried, and to...
Now these, as you can see, are something different in Israel. But they don't tell you about these Ethiopian Jews who are in Israel guarding this tomb of the Hamashiach. So, but what about, this is at the same time that there are American Negroes migrating over their hundreds of living amongst all the other Jews or Hebrews and trying to gain citizenship, but they haven't. But these Nagas who have been guarding the tomb of the Hamashiach have been over here for hundreds of years. Now listen closely.
To be caretakers of that property. I was honored to be granted a rare interview with Father Jesus about their commitment. Abba, how long have Ethiopians been in this?
You hear she called him Abba.
Area.
Come.
She called him Abba. The scriptures say in the New Testament, don't call nobody father. The Most High says, don't call nobody father but me.
Mazman Ethiopian kan ba'ezor hazeh. Over 1,500 years.
So why has it been so difficult for him to hold, for the Ethiopians, to hold on to this land?
למה זה יותר מדי קשה לשמור או להישאר פה במקום הזה? So, originally we had a number of places here, not just this place, but we were spread out all over this area. Afterwards there was a problem, there was a war. And because of that, only Christians could took this place. And they pressured them and put them out, and then they began to move to establish their tents, residences here on the roof. And now because the Egyptians and the Armenians have taken much of their places here on these holy spots. Okay. Just the area, surrounding area, is theirs here in the old city.
How long can they stay here? How long are they prepared to stay here?
He said they're ready to stay forever. Forever long. For however long.
Are you guarding the tomb of Jesus?
אתה השומר, אתם השומרים של המקום של ישוע. He said we are guardians. He said despite the problems with the Egyptians and the Armenians and others, we are guardians and we are here to maintain that.
And what makes him stay?
למה אתה משאר פה? He said, I added, because the life is very hard here. He said the life is not hard here. He said he remains because he desires to maintain a holy presence, to pray holy prayers and maintain the African presence here.
As I continued to trace the African presence in Israel, I journeyed to a town called Revolt, where I met with a...
Do you understand? How do you feel about that? Do you understand that he's saying he's trying to maintain the Naga presence in Israel? And at the same time, there are hundreds of American Nagas trying to get over into the Israel land, and they've been there hundreds of years. And he said the reason why there was a war. There was a war. And if you deny Christianity, right, and we know that Christ means what? Christ means what? Okay, we ain't talking about your hijack. We talking about your real jack. Alright? Christ only means, it's a Greek word. Christ only means, in Hebrew, Messiah. 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 Let me show you. Let me show you. Alright, first let's do Jesus. Let's do Jesus. Same thing. Greek. Jesus meaning Yeshua. Watch, let me show you. Come on, sword, don't play with me. Let me show you. Okay, so Jesus, that's Greek, 2424, it's Greek for Isus, right? Of Hebrew origin. Isus is of Hebrew origin. Jesus, that is Jahashua, the name of our Lord, Hawa, and 3 other Israelites. The name of our Lord, Hawa, right? Jesus, right? Because it's Yahashua. Okay, so now, H3091, it said of Hebrew origin. So, that's telling you the Greeks did not create the word. Do you understand that? Right? So, we just on Jesus. The Greeks were, you know what I'm saying, relaying in their dialect only what we were saying. Alright? A word that originated in Hebrew, which was Yahashua. They can't say Yahashua, so they say Jesus. Alright, so H309. H3091. Right. H3091. So from that Hebrew origin you have Yahashua, Yahashua, Yahashua. And that's from H3068 and H3467. Alright? Jehovah save Yahashua. That is Joshua, the Jewish leader, which they say the Jewish leader, Yahashua, Yahashua. Alright? They're trying to say he was a priest. Alright? Alright, so from H3068 or H3067, we'll go to both. H3068. From H3068. Okay. H3068. Jehovah. Jehovah. That's from H1961. Self-existent or eternal. Jehovah, Jewish national name of God. H1961, and we'll get into that. That gets into the primitive root. So Jehovah, in the primitive root, Haya is Hawa, Haya, a primitive root. Compare 1933 Okay, compare 1933. To exist, that is, be or become, come to pass, always empathetic and not to mere cupola or auxiliary beacon. Auxiliary and auxiliary. Y'all know what an auxiliary is? Huh? When you plug up one device into another. When you plug up one device into another to get that same sound. That's what an auxiliary is. All together, accomplish, committed, a commitment, break, cause, to pass, continue, alright, follow, last, self-required. It's a self-required. Alright, Hawa, 1933. We can, let's go into 19. We seen 19. Let's go into 6-7 while we're here. Yehudith, the same as H3066, Yehudith. Okay, now this is a Canaanite, a Canaanitess. Alright. Don't get scared of words. A Canaanitess, Judith, Yehudith, Jewess, Yehudith. Alright, feminine of H30. Okay, this is the feminine of H3064, the Jewish, because, okay, I think this has something to do with us marrying into Canaanite women. Okay, Jehudith. Alright, combining, a combination, the seed. Okay, so what do we say? H367. Now we go to H1961, right? Because that's where all this is primitive rooting from. 1961. I think did we go to that? Yeah, we did. 1961 was the primitive root. Hawa, Hawa. Alright, so that just how Yeshua, Jesus, breaks down to that, right? Breaks down to that. Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. But I wanted to go to the word. Let me see if we can find the word. Let me see, where are we at? Let's go to the word. Okay. Let's go to the word. Let me see. Titus or Timothy. Either one, we'll see. We'll find it. Alright, so now we're looking for the word Christ. We did Jesus, now let's do Christ. Now Christ in your Strong's Concordance. Greek would be G5547. Alright, for Christos. Alright, Christos would be from G5548, right? Anointed. That is the Messiah, a prophet of Jesus Christ. Alright. G55. So Christ would be a Greek word. Right? But Christ just meaning the Messiah. Alright. Okay, so right here we can't translate it, but so it's from G5548. How is it from G5548? And it's 5547. Okay, 5548. Let's see. Okay, it's an earlier word. Creole, Caree, probably Akin. From G5530, the idea to smear, rub oil. To rub oil, implication, to consecrate to an office or religion. Okay, so, and then another thing too, man, y'all can't get, you can't get upset when you see Greek neither, man. For, what did David say? I am your brother. You feel what I'm saying? Tribes, we are brothers through blood, marriage, through you understand, initiation, whatever you would say. Not initiation, but you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So y'all gotta stop getting mad when you see Greek too, because that'll hurt you too, man. That'll hurt you too, man. Having this biased opinion over Greek, or anytime you hear something with Greek or about the Greeks, and that's the Naga, man. The Naga formed Athens. Athens, Greece. The Naga formed Athens. You know, so you gotta. All right, so let's see what they're talking about. Or maybe not.
And while he's also an Afro-Arab, his experiences in Israel are quite
Alright, so we're gonna leave that there, man. Let's come out of there. There we go. Man. Alright. Let's see if we live. Okay, cool. So let's go down here. Now we're going to head over to the Caesar's Messiah. I just want to hit y'all over the head with that. Remember the demons of Gadara. Okay, hold up a second. Because this is going to lead into Jonathan. Johannathan. This is going to lead to Johannathan. Okay, give me a second. Let me see this now. Alright, so that's what I wanted to get talking about. And he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how great things Yahushua had done for him, and all men did marvel. Alright, so y'all don't get afraid when you see Jesus. I might even say it a couple times. Because you gotta understand that that's Yahushua, the son of Nun. Alright? The son of Nun. Hamashiach. Alright, so and he departed. Alright, he departed. Alright, so let's go up. So let's go up, and I want how that story started. Okay, the passage in Mark describing a demonic of Gadara tells of a Yahushua encounter with a man possessed by numerous demons. These demons leave the man at Yahushua bidding and then enter. Alright. I want to put, let's put, I'm going to give y'all some imagery, right? Okay. So you know, is that in, okay, where Moses is forbidden to go into the promised land, right? Now, so Yahushua or Joshua gets to go into the promised land. So they put the charge into Joshua. First of all, Most High, by Mount Zion, where could nobody go into. If they could, they would die, while he was creating the Ruach into Yahshua, right? So the point is, so then after that, the Most High told Moses that Yahushua would lead. He would send spies into the land. He would go into the land before Israel, and he would come out before Israel. I mean, or come out after, or however. You understand? So now at this point, when Yahushua has come into the land, now this is the story of what he's doing in the land. Alright? So now get that picture. So now he's in the land. doing what he had to do, moving the people around, moving everything out, right? He went in there with Ephraim, right? He's moving everything out. So, after they came over and to the other side of the sea, oh, let me finish. The passage in Mark describing the Mosaic of Gadara tells of how Ahchwa encountered with a man possessed by numerous demons. These demons leave the man at Ahchwa, bidding, and then enter into a herd of swine. Once the swine are possessed by demons, they rush wildly into the sea and drown. The passage does not reveal what happened to the demons after the swine drowned. Note that the New Testament unclean spirits are synonymous with devils and demons. Okay, so, and they came over into the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him. They met him out of the tombs, a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken into pieces, neither could any man tame him. Oh, there we go. Okay, and always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Ahchwa afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice, and said, What have I to do with ye, Ahchwa, thou Son of the Most High? I adjure thee by Ahchwa, that thou torment thee not, that torment me not. For he said unto him, Come out of that man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Okay, now there was a nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. And all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Ahchwa gave them leave. And the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down the steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea. And they that fed the swine fled. And told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was done. And they came to Ahchwa, and see him was possessed with the devil, and had the legion sitting and clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. They were afraid when they seen that Ahchwa had took the devil or the spirit out of the man. Okay, and he was sitting there clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And he departed, and he began to publish in Decapolis how great things Ahchwa had done for him, and all the men did marvel. Alright, so in the War of the Jews, there's a short chapter that describes that battle in Gadara. The chapter begins with a description on how John rose to power as a leader of the rebellion in the Sakari. Right? John that's Yohanan. How he rose to power. right? Jonathan, one of the Sakari and a catalyst who make false accusations against Josephus for starting the Jonathan innovation. The innovation of Jonathan, alright, is the word used to describe a religious sect because it was a new version of Judaism. Judaism. Man, we could talk about that Judaism. But come to find out, when Paul hit you over the head with that game, Judaism, they're the ones that got to stay in the temple, right? Right? Yeah, they call them the Jews, Judaism, right? Because they denounce you, nigga. They denounce the Naga. You don't get it. They denounce the true creator, the creator of you. They denounce the Naga. So they get to be in the temple. The Christians, you know what I'm saying? They can't be in the temple, but they're guarding, you know what I'm saying, in a different place. They're guarding the grave. You understand? But they're not in, they've been guarding the grave for hundreds of years, but they're not in the temple where they are. Where they're not in Israel, where they are. You know what I'm saying? They're in a different location in Israel guarding that tomb. So Jonathan led that rebellion. Like they said, man, we were killing priests. We were the Sakari. We were killing priests. We were defiling. We defiled the temple. We defiled the fountain where David was. So we were defiling everyone. And to come to think about it, maybe that's really why Moses couldn't go into the promised land, because he had to have Ahchwa do it. That spiritual warrior. He was a priest. The spiritual warrior do it to bring those demons out of us. Man, it's some deep spill, man. Real shiznizle. Some deep spill. Deep spill. I want to get into that 2 Kings 2, that book of law too, because it was deep. It's deep. I want to get into that too, because I know everybody think about the law, the book of law, the law. Man, this shit is deeper than the law. Remember, the law is for sinners. Alright? So, in order for you to got that law, you had to been sinning. You get what I'm saying? You was sinning against the oral law. You was sinning against doing what the Most High, exactly what he told you to do. Remember, doing everything he told you to do. So then you got the law. You know what I'm saying? So then you got the commandments. The law was that you follow everything that the Most High tells you to do. A far country Decapolis, man. This is where they, where they did all the shrining. And check this out. Alright, the Decapolis is mentioned by name only 3 times. Only 3 times in the New Testament. In addition to these 3 instances, on at least 2 other occasions, how Ahchwa visited specific locations in largely pagan league of cities to east of the Sea of Galilee. While there is evidence of Jewish communities in these cities, most had synagogues, although these were constructed long after Jesus' time. Yeah, man, and when you break down talking about the Pentecost, right? And we were at the Pentecost, how we had these churches. Man, a lot of our churches were actually underground. The synagogue, remember where it say those are not Jews about the synagogue? Now, that's what I meant to say earlier, man. Now, I want to speak for myself, man. I have done numerous of videos. And let me humbly say to my Creator that, forgive me for all my transgressions where I have defiled you or myself in any video I ever done. You know, because a lot of times we think we know something and we don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? So let me be the first to say through my growing process. And that's why a lot of times you just gotta shut up. You can't get into quarries and bickeries over words and ideas. You know, it's just, man, listen, Ahchwa is solid, and everything he's done is solid. You know, you could talk about the liars and naysayers, but we're talking about Ahchwa. We ain't talking about the people that lie on Ahchwa. We're talking about Ahchwa, our Creator, the Most High. Okay, so, alright, well, let me move on quick. So I just wanted to ask for forgiveness for that publicly. You know, I know a lot of people have heard me, I don't know, defile my Creator in some things that I might have said. So I'll be the first one to beg my Creator for forgiveness. Alright, so let's move on. So Ahchwa visited Pacific locations in his largely pagan league of cities to the east of the Sea of Galilee. While there is evidence of Jewish communities in these cities, most had synagogues. And that's what I was saying before. Judaism they was able to rock the Judaism, but not Christianity. Okay? So, because of Christianity, you already know the real Christianity was about the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And reflecting that through the people. You understand? But the synagogues is where they got the worship. And they denounced the Most High. So they were able to rock in these synagogues. But these churches were more underground. Our churches were more underground. Okay? Meaning they weren't registered churches. The synagogues were registered. All the synagogues were registered around the world. Okay? They were out in the open synagogue, open worship, where they would allow that. But they were denouncing you, Naga. They were denouncing you. So therefore, they didn't want you nor real Christianity, because that represents you, the Hamashiach. That represented you looking like the Most High. Understand? Okay, so Ahchwa visits to the Decapolis can help us understand some aspects of his ministry that would not be as clear if they had occurred in Jerusalem or Capernaum or some other Orthodox Jewish site. There is a lot we don't know about the Decapolis, but we know enough to be enlightened concerning Ahchwa's visit to this Hellenistic area. Okay? Okay, now when they're saying Hellenistic, they're actually meaning that these were a place where it was idol worships and mockery worships, Apollo and, summer solstice and all these things. Okay, so the origin of Decapolis. Many of the cities that would come to be known as the 10 cities, Decapolis in Greek, were found by the Greek settlers, soldiers of the Ptolemaic and Seleucid kingdoms. Seleucid kingdoms, these kingdoms were sections of the empire of Alexander the Great. Okay, divided amongst these generals after his death. Okay, these were Alexander the Great's generals after his death. Okay, now this breaks into the story too in the Caesar's Messiah. Y'all make sure y'all get that drop too. Make sure y'all get that. Let's break down that when you talk about Canaanite kings, okay, when you talk about the reaction after us fighting with our Greek brothers, and then here comes the Canaanite kings to devour us all, right? Nah, but remember the Levitical priest came and whooped everybody ass. Remember that. Alright, so okay, so the Seleucids. Okay, hold up. The dynasties that followed him were as devoted to Greek ideas as he was, each integrating local customs and practices into their particular cultures. The Seleucids settled in Persia and Syria, just to the north of Israel, and the Ptolemies settled to the south in Egypt. Okay? The Seleucids settled in Persia and Syria, just to the north of Israel, and the Ptolemies settled to the south in Egypt. Alright? So the soldiers of these kingdoms founded many cities throughout Israel, and other cities simply became Hellenized due to their influence. The MaccaBean revolt and the support of his revolt by the Hasidim, those fiercely devoted to Yahweh and the Torah, alright, was in large part a reaction to the attempts of these Greek-thinking kingdoms to convert the Jews to their pagan values and practices. Alright, the MaccaBean revolt and the support of this revolt by the Hasidim, those fiercely devoted to Yahweh and the Torah, was in large part a reaction to attempts of these Greek-thinking kingdoms to convert the Jews to their pagan values and practices. Alright, so that was in large part a reaction to the attempt of Greek thinking. Alright, in 64-63 BC, the Roman general Pompey brought the entire Near East under Roman dominion. He incorporated the Greek cities east of the Sea of Galilee, and one city, Beth Shean, renamed Synthopoulos, right? That was east of the Jordan River, just south of the sea, into a league of cities known as Decapolis. Before that time, during the MaccaBean period, 167 to 63 BC, many of these cities have represented the attempts of religious Jews to convert them to their religion and practices. All right, many of these cities had resented the attempts of religious Jews to convert them to their religious practices. When Rome assumed control of the sea, the pagans were pleased to finally receive autonomy from the religious fanatics. Though Caesar Augustus later gave 2 of the cities to Herod, the king of the Jews, for a little while, throughout New Testament times, these 10 cities remain a league of free city-states under the umbrella of Roman authority. So they were denouncing this Hebrew faith, or they were denouncing the practices. Okay, denouncing the practice for a reason. The Most High, man, listen, we don't know what He knows. Although for much of its history, the Decapolis actually comprised more than 10 cities, it retained its destination as the 10 cities. I even knew they built 30 cities. Many of these cities are familiar to the New Testament reader: Damascus, Philadelphia, modern Amman, Synthopoulos, Beth Shean, Gadara is Gardanese, Pella is Gerasa, is Gerasenes. That's all the books the places in the scriptures. It's the Sea of Galilee. This is near Jerusalem, near the Jordan. All right, hippos, Sacida. Remember hippos on the wall, that Greek stuff. Hippo set on the wall. Hippo Sacida was a major Decapolis city overlooking the Sea of Galilee from the east, but it is not directly mentioned in the New Testament. These cities, while joined as a league by the Romans to control the trade route that went from Arabia to Damascus, and to provide protection for the eastern frontier had a large measure for local autonomy. They minted their coins, had jurisdiction over a large area, and ruled their own affairs. The culture of these prosperous cities was Hellenistic in all its Roman glory. Okay. And you can also remember that story, man, of Nebuchadnezzar, same spill. Alright, Nebuchadnezzar and David, the same spill where he was trying to get the Hebrews to bow down to a statue. But in his eyes, you know, he needed that physical image. You know what I'm saying? Or else he couldn't imagine, he couldn't fathom. He couldn't fathom it. Okay, that's why they interpret it. I need to see it. I need to see what you're talking about. I need to see what God is talking about. Alright, so Alexander the Great had a mission. He wanted the whole world to be under the influence of Greek culture and religion. In religion, language, philosophy, political structure, and values. He died before he could, made his dream a reality, but his successors accomplished his goal to a large degree. Much of the known world, including many of the people of the land of Israel, adopted Greek ways, although they modified them with local beliefs. Greek culture institutions were established in many cities. Remember, I told y'all that from the Caesar's Messiah, including Jerusalem. Theaters became common and popular. The rabbis of Israel forbade attendance at these theaters because their dramas portrayed the myths of Greek and Roman gods, contained erotic themes common to Hellenistic, and were performed in connection with pagan religion festivals, which included sacrifices to the gods, gymnasiums, or other Greek educational institutions. Appeared in many cities, including Jerusalem, not far from the temple. In the gymnasium, the Greek idea of training people's bodies and mind was put into practice. Students studied the philosophy of classical Greece, received athletic training, and competed naked in athletic events. The Greek educational system was remarkably effective, instilling Greek ideas into entire generations of young Jewish people. Busts of Greek gods and heroes celebrated the ultimate idea, the human form. Young Jews read Homer and Euripides and Plato to absorb their values. They also learned to draw and sculpt, often creating the forms of Greek gods, because Greek mythology offered heroes and role models who competed with the Jews' biblical ancestors. The Pharisees, devoted to keeping God's people faithful to the Torah, constantly admonishing young Jews intrigued by Greek culture. Alright. So Hellenistic cities had stadiums for public displays of athletic contests. Temples were built to honor local gods, and festivals were held to celebrate pagan holidays. In the midst of these attractions, the faithful Jewish population struggled to maintain its beliefs. The latest architecture and artistic designs made the Hellenistic cities of Decapolis seem very attractive and modern. People from small villages of Galilee must have been awed by the marble streets, mosaic floors, running water, and fountains. In these cities and even in nearby regions, Hellenism influenced much of every life. In fact, the Greek language became the common tongue of the economic world. Few people did more to bring Hellenistic ideas to the Jews than the Herod the Great and his sons. Though they kept a few Jewish rules to pacify their religious subjects, they did not put their images on coins and apparently avoiding eating pork. The Herods built theaters, stadiums, and gymnasiums. It fell to the faithful Jews to resist these cultural institutions and the values they brought. As a result, the Pharisees adopted increasingly detailed laws to remain faithful to the Torah. The Zealots resisted Hellenism more and more violently, and the Essenes withdrew into isolated communities. By contrast, the Sadducees, while maintaining a prescribed temple ceremonies, often became as Hellenistic as the pagans. Supporters of Herods, the Herodians, also enjoyed the Hellenistic lifestyle their overlords created. Man, hitting you over the head. Get that food, y'all. This is food. Food for the soul. Let's get it. The Decapolis city-states, the states, were satisfied with their freedom under Roman authority. They could enjoy their Greek practices, from sacrificing in their temples to eating pork also used for sacrifices. Pork. Rome provided support to their cultural practices and helped them resist the seemingly outdated worldviews of the Jews. One of the most magnificent of the Decapolis cities, Hippos, sitting high on a hill, could be clearly seen across the Sea of Galilee by the fishermen of Capernaum and other villages around the sea. Ironically, this area would become a vital center for the early church. At its core, Hellenism was humanism. Hellenism was humanism at its core. It glorified human beings above all other creatures and portrayed the human body as the ultimate in physical beauty. Truth could be known only through the humankind, or the human mind, And pleasure was a crucial goal in life. Pleasure was a crucial goal in life. Hellenism's value permeated the gymnasium and its excellent system of education, the theater and the games in the arena. The majestic Romanized forms of humanism architecture must have seemed harmless enough, but its temples glorified the excesses of pleasure. Pleasure. The religious Jews of Galilee struggled against this pagan worldview, seeing the exceptionally modern perception of Hellenism can help us understand, or humanism can help us overstand their struggle. It can also help us overstand, not excuse, the legalistic excesses of some of the Pharisees. How many parents make the multitude of rules to help their children avoid temptations of modern society? The glorification of sexuality, violence, wealth, and the human form, and the view that only what human mind can understand and formulate can possibly be true, is the value system of humanism. Okay? The followers of Jesus, or Ahchwa today, still wrestle with this worldview. In the process of struggling against its seductive power, some Christians become Pharisaic. Others escape to small, safe communities. Some even resort to violence. But Ahchwa wants us to follow his example. He sailed across the sea and confronted evil directly to bring his message, Hawa's message of love, to this humanism, Decapolis. Alright? We're going to get a little more. the Decapolis, and the religious Jews. It is clear from ancient records that the religious Jews of Hawashua's day opposed the values and practices of humanism. The struggle of the Pharisees to avoid all uncleanness while often creating a lack of love for those who were suffering. Alright, that sound familiar? The struggle of the Pharisees and all these other Nagas, right, to avoid all uncleanliness, right, while often creating a lack of love for those. Remember, I told you Shekinah. We started off, we're going to break it down, we're going to get into it. While often creating a lack of love. That means, nigga, you ain't loving. For those who were suffering. Who were suffering at heart may have included a desire to resist the pagan views of their neighbors. The problem of the Pharisees was that they often hated the sinner along with the sin. A dilemma that is not entirely ancient. The presence of pigs in the Decapolis, Mark 5:11, would certainly have made the area offensive and off limits to those who followed the Torah. Bargal Pixner, a noted scholar on Galilee, has pointed out an ancient religious tradition that helps clarify the Jewish view of the pagan Decapolis. He noted that in the Talmud and in the writings of the church fathers, the people of this area were described as belonging to 7 pagan Canaanite nations driving out the promised land by Yeshua and the Israelites. Alright? So let me read. A noted scholar in Galilee has pointed out an ancient religion tradition that helps clarify the Jewish view of the pagan Decapolis. He noted that in the Talmud and in the writing of the church fathers, the people of this area were described as belonging to the 7 pagan Canaanite nations. The seven, alright, the 7 pagan Canaanite nations driving out the promised land. Driven out of the promised land by Yeshua and the Israelites. It's in Joshua 3:10. Okay, these nations worship Baal and ate and sacrificed pigs. Isaiah 65:3. Apparently, the pagan practices of the people of Decapolis and their anti-God values seem to be continuation of the practices of the Canaanites, who used sexual perversions and even child sacrifices in their worship. It is probable that the people of Hawashua's day, who took their scriptures seriously, viewed the Decapolis as very pagan, although we do not know how many Jews actually believed that the people of Decapolis were descendants of the Canaanites. The fact that there is a link between the blasphemous practices of these two peoples help establish the validity of Jewish view. Now, Jesus and the Decapolis, or Hawashua and the Decapolis. The Bible records 2 of Hawashua's visits to the Decapolis, to the Decap, right? It also mentioned crowds of people from now this Decapolis, right? Don't get it twisted. Remember Heliopolis, right? Heliopolis, this Egyptian, this Babylonian city, right? All right. It also mentioned crowds of people from Decapolis following Hawashua. Overstanding the pagan world represented by these city-states help us see the significance of Hawashua's response to it. His message clearly was for the inhabitants of Decapolis, for they heard and followed. He confronted the darkness of the pagan world in choosing to visit its people. Giving the Jewish view of the paganism and of the Decapolis, it probably was not surprising to the disciples that as soon as they landed there, how Ahchwa met a man. Matthew referred to 2 men possessed with a legion of demons. Okay, Matthew 8:28 to 34, Mark 5:1 and 20, Luke 8:26 and 29. Jesus has stilled the storm, which the disciples probably also believed was fueled by the powers of evil connected to the depths of the sea. Luke 8:31, Revelations 13:1. The devil was unable to prevent Ahchwa from crossing the sea to enter into the pagan territory. The devil was unable to prevent Ahchwa from crossing the sea to enter to the pagan territory. So his demonic power confronted Ahchwa when he came ashore. But Ahchwa pierced the power of darkness that lay over the demon-possessed man. Are y'all putting it together? Y'all understanding? When Ahchwa had cast out the demons, he commanded the man to return home to tell the others what Ahchwa had done for him. The territory to which Ahchwa sent the man was certainly one of the most challenging mission fields to which he ever called anyone. Later, crowds from the Decapolis followed Ahchwa. This crowd of followers was a testimony to the effectiveness of the healed man's witness. Mark 7:31 and 36 and Matthew 15:30 record the same event. Matthew referred to crowds of people, but he did not mention the place. It is possible that the distant country Jesus, Ahchwa referred to in his parable of the prodigal son, was the Decapolis. Alright, Luke 15:11-32. Certainly, it was distant in the values and beliefs. It was definitely a place for wild living, wild living. For wild living. And it had plenty of pigs that needed to be fed, homie. For the son, it would be only a short walk from the Decapolis back home to his forgiving father. No one knows whether this is the country Ahchwa had in mind in the parable, but certainly the lifestyle of the Decapolis fits the parable description. Alright, so let's get into the conclusion. Many visitors to Galilee are amazed at how close Ahchwa area of ministry was to the pagan Decapolis. Jesus did not avoid the people living in darkness, Matthew 4:16. He went to them and pierced the darkness of their sinful lifestyle with the light of Ahchwa's message of salvation and love, Shekinah. How Ahchwa wants us to follow his example in confronting the darkness in our own world. Confront the darkness in our own world. The power of Satan and his demons seem overwhelming. Jacob wrestling with the angel. It would be easy for us to isolate ourselves in safe. Right? Like the Pharisees. Rule bound communities and just let the outside world destroy itself. Right? Let the outside world just destroy itself, right? But we know that'll start a whole snowball effect. But even though rules can be good and community is necessary for Hamashiach living, Ahchwa used neither as an escape. Remember, you can't run from the devil, you gotta face him. He modeled another way for us as his followers. He left the familiarity of his community and confronted evil on his own turf. Confronted evil on his own turf. Such a display of Hawa's power still can and does happen today. When we confront the darkness in our society with the message of what Hawa through Hawashua has done for us. Mark 5:19. Alright, so how y'all feeling, man? Y'all vibing? Y'all vibing with me? Y'all vibing with that? Y'all vibing with this oracle flow? We out here, man. We way up in the forest. We with the Alphabet. We with the Caesar's Messiah. We in Decapolis. And next we gonna come back with Elijah's prayer. That's what we gonna, when we come back, when you see me again, we're gonna get into that Elijah prayer, man. But I appreciate y'all, and I would die, man. I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I thank y'all. Hold on one time. Hold on one time. Yeah, that would die, man. Seriously. I don't know. I hear water. I hear waterfalls, and I don't see any, but I hear them. Maybe it's just me. I hear waterfalls. But Tawada for joining me in this Levitical, man. In this flow, man. This vibration. You always know law is vibration. Vibration is law. And you always know we none above the firmament. Even when you go all the way back to the Mexico, with Quetzalcoatl and Huey Mott. Computer been running slow all night, but yet still it's done what it's needed to do. All we had to do was have faith. It's done what it's needed to do, man. It's a beautiful thing. Nothing stops the flow. Nothing stops the vibration. We're mastering it. Yeah, it's got Tawa all over this, man. Man, y'all stay real, and what I mean by this, man, use your heart, man. Stop being so aggressive. Use your heart. This is something for you to think about, man. Rewind it and play it over if you got to. I stand firm in it. I stand firm, man. If you a Naga, stand firm in it, man, because stop fighting what the Most High is doing. Stop fighting against us. We've been fighting against each other from. You gotta understand. Put down the madness. Put down the madness, man. You understand? Put down the madness. Stop being the legion. Yeah, maybe this got something to do with it. It's running slow. Maybe this got something to do with it. I wonder. Yeah, put down the madness. Really. Oh, the page is unresponsive. That's the one we're trying to, yeah, we ain't getting no response, so we gon' trying to drop this page out, but it ain't working. Alright, yeah, it ain't working. There we go. We might have worked. We might have worked. Yeah, we just gonna, man, I'm here with y'all. We just gonna vibe off for a little minute. I'm going back to the water, man. Enjoy. Y'all relax, man. Relax. Absorb. It's okay. Absorb, man. This is for my priest kings. Absorb. Shekinah, Shekinah.